Hello everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris, coming to you from our mobile command unit we showed you in action in yesterday's Vortex. Leaders must be held accountable. This business of leaving bad priests in parishes has got to stop. They corrupt the faithful by bad preaching, heresy, immorality, bad example, horrible counsel, excusing sin, undermining the truths of the faith, and they are left in place by bishops, either weak bishops who are too afraid to confront the opposition they will face from a rebellious clergy if they try to change, or those who just don't have the stomach for taking on a fight. Here in the Archdiocese of Detroit, for example, at a press conference last year announcing the miserable condition of the church here locally, Archbishop Alan Vigneron said the following.
We have to change our culture too and make it more evangelizing and more missionary.
Well, here's as good a place to start as any. Prince of Peace Parish in West Bloomfield, where the pastor, Ron Joswiak, humiliated a young woman at a Saturday vigil mass simply for kneeling to receive Holy Communion. Then there are those other bishops who actually agree with the undermining of the faith and desire this evil outcome. They want to remake the faith after their own lusts and ambitions and personal tastes. Again, nothing new in church history there. But weak bishops and bad bishops do have one thing in common. They each need money to operate their diocese and have become fundraisers and portfolio managers. To date, many have been able to keep affairs under wraps by keeping the laity ignorant, their dissident priests appeased, or both. As long as everything has the appearance of being in order and peaceful, then the money pots are never really threatened. Never rock the boat, never do anything to upset anyone, and money management should be relatively easy. Certainly much easier than if a scandal of some sort becomes public. So all scandals must be kept far away from the headlines, or if they do become known, then acted on quickly and the diocese shift into damage control mode ASAP and get things done quietly and fast. That's all fine if you're running a business, but the problem here is that while temporal affairs may be temporarily kept in check, spiritual affairs are falling apart. And since it appears that appealing to concern for souls seems to have very little effect, then the only course left is to hit weak or unfaithful leaders on the bottom line. When you have a priest, for example, who is telling couples that birth control is okay, or who looks the other way with a couple who is cohabitating, then the priest gives them the impression that their actions are not sinful. Then along comes the good Catholic who is friends with the sinful couple, who out of charity and concern for their souls points out that their actions are sinful, and that faithful Catholic is shot down immediately by the couple as a crank because the couple says, well, Father Nice said this is perfectly okay and not sinful. This horrible reality is commonplace in the church, and couples are more than happy to throw their vote behind the man with the collar because the man with the collar is the one excusing their sin. And after all, the priest is the priest and he says it's okay, so it must be. These priests have got to be dealt with, not just let loose on the flock. And sadly, there is a whole generation, or even two, of them. They destroy the faith on a daily basis by preaching a false gospel, and they are kept in place by weak or wicked bishops who refuse to attack this evil head-on because they know to go after these men has the potential to have a devastating effect on fundraising. It's like the question of hell not even existing, which we know it doesn't for many of these leaders because hell would imply a call to duty on their part, and that would hit them on the bottom line. So here's the deal. It has to be more attractive financially. It has to be a more attractive financial choice to get rid of the bad clergy than to keep them, like is currently the case. Because Catholics don't make life miserable for the bishop when he keeps an abusive priest around, meaning spiritually abusive, then the bishop keeps him around. This is done largely by the laity being kept in the dark about the priest's dereliction of duty. The truth is rarely taught clearly. The priest is never really investigated. He's never called on the carpet by the bishop to give an account of his care of souls, or rather lack thereof, and the collection plate money is counted, and so it goes. So, stop giving to parishes with unfaithful priests. Certainly withhold your donations from the annual diocesan appeal. Give less, and watch how fast things change. If you let it be known that you simply refuse to give to a parish any longer that passes itself off as Catholic without actually passing on the Catholic faith, and enough of you organize and do that, watch how long it will be before an announcement is suddenly made one Sunday from the pulpit that Father Nice is taking a leave of absence for health reasons. But in order for people to take action, they need to know that there is a situation that requires them taking action. And that's what this mobile command unit is a symbol of, as well as an actual reality. We're going to take this around to various places and turn the spotlight on cases that need the spotlight being shined on them. From, for example, the homosexual priest in New York who has his boyfriend living with him in the rectory on the Upper West Side. And yes, Archdiocese of New York, we know all about that. And we know that you know about it too. To the gay priest in Southeastern Ohio Diocese who has his gay priest boyfriend in the next parish living with him in the rectory, with the diocese again totally clued in about the whole situation. All this garbage and filth, to use Pope Benedict's expression, is gonna come to an end. Do you really think, for example, that if faithful Catholics in the New York Archdiocese knew there was a homosexual priest who had his gay lover living in the rectory, and they knew that Cardinal Dolan knew about this, that they would give the money to support that huge appeal being sponsored right now by the Archdiocese? Or if Catholics in Detroit knew that a gay mass is held every Sunday with diocesan priests saying that gay mass, and that the Archdiocese knows all about it and lets it go on, do you really think they would give money to the $130 million fundraising campaign underway right now? You get the picture. This state of ongoing evil has got to have the lid blown off it because it is destroying souls. There has been so much neglect of souls for so long that things are run like a business, and the spiritual has been left to rot with the exception of appearances. This has all got to stop and stop immediately, and if that means choking off the money by exposing the filth, then so be it. How many family and friends are practically disconsolate over the spiritual lives of their loved ones? How many have been betrayed by the very clergy ordained and consecrated to help get their loved ones to heaven? Nothing cleans up like sunshine, the bright light of day, as the psalm says, from east to west, nothing escapes its burning heat. That's the entire purpose of this mobile unit, to travel to parishes and dioceses and shine the light of day on the spiritual abuse. The homosexual clergy sex abuse problem was allowed to go on for decades before it was exposed and started costing billions. Then all of a sudden, the bishops of the United States, many of them guilty as sin themselves in the cover-ups, suddenly and sanctimoniously sprang into action as lawsuits and huge damage awards began piling up. Well, the spiritual abuse cases are even more frightening and terrifying because the effects of them, of their evil, can last into eternity. So Pope Francis has said, make a mess. He's told the laity to hold the bishops and priests accountable. Vatican II said the laity need to step up and become full participants. Well, here we are, stepping up and rolling into a diocese or parish near you soon. To those who would corrupt the faith or allow the faith to be corrupted for the sake of money, remember what our blessed Lord said. You cannot serve two masters, both God and money. You will either love one and hate the other, or despise the one and love the other. Your own immortal souls are in jeopardy, and you need to fix this and make things right before you go to hell yourselves and take others with you. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.